In today's question, we are talking offensive line. Who will start at right guard? Scott, it's the one question that remains on this offensive line. Jack Conklin's on board. Jedrick Wills is on board. We already know what Joel Bitonio and J.C. Tretter can do. It is right guard. We don't know how that's going to play out. So let's run through some of the candidates that could be in the running. I guess the first name we have to throw out there is Wyatt Teller. He was the starter last time we saw this football team. He's a guy that I think John Dorsey really liked. He went out and acquired him, and I think he was a guy that ultimately they brought in to be their starting right guard, but John Dorsey is gone, obviously. That coaching staff is gone. But I guess let's just start here. Do you believe Wyatt Teller is the front runner right
now? I got to believe that he would be, based on the fact that he was the starter last year, but, it's a different scheme. And, I truly believe that the Browns are going into this training camp thinking, all right, we're going to have a right guard competition. I would think that when, camp begins and the ones go out there for their first reps, Teller's probably going to be that guy. But I don't think he necessarily – I don't look at Teller as the guy you got to beat. I just think he's probably going to be first in line.
A couple of names to keep in mind, and let's just go with this guy. Drew Forbes. He's back, sort of the forgotten guy. We've talked about Jacob Phillips as this year's forgotten draft pick. Drew Forbes was sort of last year's forgotten draft pick. He was a tackle in college, but pretty early on he said that he saw himself as an interior lineman, was doing a lot of work at guard. He's got the body of an interior lineman. So here's a guy that got hurt early. He came back, and I believe he was one of the two guys they brought off IR, but he never really got on the field. And he's an intriguing piece to this, because I think he might have gotten a shot to play guard last year when the Browns decided to kind of shake things up on that line. But he just wasn't healthy, and that can set a guy back when you get hurt before the season starts and you've got to work your way back from a knee injury like that. He's sort of the wild card in this, or there is another wild card in this, but he's one of them.
Yeah, well, and again, I think this is the reason why Teller's first man up, because the other options here, there's so much unknown. Forbes was kind of a late comer to the right guard competition last year, and then, like you said, he got hurt. He's definitely a candidate to be that. If he's not the starting right guard, he's one of the top candidates to be that swing guy in the middle, perhaps with Nick Harris, who I'm sure we'll get to. But you just have some unknowns here. It's weird that they put so much into this offensive line, in adding Conklin and then drafting Wills so high, and you have Bitonio and Tretter making decent money. I think they have like 27 million, if I wrote this down right, 27 million wrapped up in Bitonio, Tretter, and Conklin. I mean, that's a lot of money. That's like the offensive line on this team is the highest paid position group on this team.
You draft a guy like Nick Harris, and you already have a guy like J.C. Tretter, who just signed an extension, pretty expensive to move on from. He's got, they obviously wouldn't do it this year, but even next year it carries, this is off Spotrac, $6 million in dead cap. And then in 2022, that number goes down a little bit. But to draft a guy to bring in to be your backup center sort of was a head scratcher to me, which also tells me maybe he's not here to just be the backup center or just be a swing guy. Maybe he's your center of the future, but that doesn't mean he can't play another position until that center spot opens up.
One guy who we haven't talked about who might surprise everybody is Chris Hubbard. Yeah, the right tackle last year, and kind of, I guess you could call it demotion in a way, because they bring in Jack Conklin and they restructure Hubbard's contract. So clearly they still wanted him here. He has 8 regular season snaps at guard in the NFL. But when he was with the Steelers, he pretty much played guard every preseason game. And I believe that's how he ended up making those rosters, is because he was the backup swing guy for a while, or at least the backup tackle who was able to play a little at guard. And then, of course, obviously he got a chance to be a starter there for a while.